Early in my life, I understood the value of finance, the value of capital markets, the lifelong skills that you gain from managing money.
Who is Arunma Oteh? Or to be precise, the woman who is known to be the queen of Nigerian money.
We will not permit anything that is wrong in the Nigerian stock market, in investing in companies, in investing through exchanges in Nigeria, because nobody would ever accept to give another person money if they know that that person will defraud them.
This woman single-handedly fought the CABELS, the billionaires, the ultra-wealthy, and the politicians in the Nigerian financial sector, specifically against mismanagement, fraud, and manipulation and political interference.
When I accepted to take this job, I was told that when I fight corruption, that corruption will fight me back. And now I question, Honorable Chairman, your credibility in carrying out this public hearing. The SEC gave you ESTO code and a business class ticket to travel to an emerging market conference in Dominican Republic. Please tell the Nigerian people whether you actually went there. And please also tell the Nigerian people, if you didn't go, whether you have returned the monies.
In fact, she became so powerful that she was nicknamed the Iron Lady of the Nigerian stock market. And she was actually named as one of the most powerful and influential women in the African continent. You see, in January 2010, when Umar Musa Yar'Adua became the president of Nigeria, he appointed Arunma Oteh as the Director General of the Nigerian Security and Exchange Commission. And by that time, she had already had an MBA from Harvard Business School and had worked her way through global finance rank in the world. In fact, at one point, she became the Vice President of the African Developmental Bank, and she made a series of reforms, especially corruption related. And so by the time she was appointed the DG of the Nigerian Security and Exchange Commission, people didn't know what was about to eat them. And around that time, the Nigerian stock market recently crashed in 2008-2009, and billions of dollars were wiped out of the Nigerian stock market. Investors were crippled and pension funds were wiped away, and a lot of people totally lost confidence in the Nigerian stock market. But around that time as well, a lot of experts started noticing some strange activities in the Nigerian financial sector. In fact, they noticed high level of corruption, fraud, manipulation, and abuse of the Nigerian stock market. Wealthy stockbrokers in Nigeria were accused of pumping stock prices and dumping them, and they were also accused of issuing fake transactions and profiting from it, while small investors were left in ruins. And this was a chaotic and compromised system that Arunma Oteh had to take control of when she became the DG of the Nigerian Security and Exchange Commission. Barely weeks after she came into office, she began to examine the audited reports and internal memos of the Security and Exchange Commission, and she found an underground fraud operation. She discovered that a group of wealthy and powerful figures in the Nigerian system were artificially inflating the prices of stocks in the Nigerian stock market, and they were doing what was called pumping and dumping. She also discovered a massive insider trading where stockbrokers were colluding with bank executives to manipulate and inflate stock prices and create an illusion that they are making money. And this became open after the 2008 stock market crash, because those inflated stock prices were collapsing in huge numbers. And she also discovered that some of our own officials at the Security and Exchange Commission were seeing these things and were turning a blind eye on them, because some of these ultra-wealthy people are influencing them by giving them financial and political influence as well. In fact, this became so much that the former Director General of the Nigerian Stock Exchange was accused of mismanagement of investors' funds and breaching governance code. Billions from public funds like PENCOM, a body in charge of pension of retired civil servants, were diverted to support selected brokerage firms owned by these ultra-wealthy people in the country. And these firms were using these funds to enrich themselves. In 2010, she made a very bold move. She publicly exposed the irregularities of the Nigerian Stock Exchange and forced the resignation of the former Director General of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Okereke Onyiuke. An organization which was supposed to serve the public interest was being used as personal business of the ultra wealthy in Nigeria. And immediately after the Director General of the Nigerian Stock Exchange resigned, she demanded for a forensic audit of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And they discovered misuse of several funds, like about 186 million spent on unnecessary bonuses. About billions of dollars were spent on publicity, and some funds were even used to finance political interests of the ultra wealthy and politicians. She discovered that the Nigerian Stock Exchange had purchased about 165 Rolex wristwatches worth 186 million naira as gift, but only 73 were distributed, leaving 92 wristwatches unaccounted for. A yacht worth 37 million at that time was purchased by the Nigerian Stock Exchange as a gift meant to be presented during the 2008 award ceremony, but they later discovered that it didn't have any documentation on who was supposed to be the recipient. She also discovered that during her investigation, the Nigerian Stock Exchange used about 1.3 billion naira, which was originally accounted for business travel, was diverted and used for personal expenses. And she later discovered that it was because of this mismanagement and irregularities that actually caused a major fall and crash of the Nigerian stock market in 2008 to 2009, among other things. And immediately she revealed all these things and forced the resignation of the Director General of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. It sent a major shock wave to all the ultra wealthy and the CABELS, and in fact they decided to strike back aggressively. She began to face massive resistance from a body she regulates itself, the Security and Exchange Commission, after she recruited about 52 young professionals from accounting, economics and law. And some of the commissioners and existing staff of that particular commission went against her and queried her for hiring these people without informing them so that they can bring their own slots as well. In fact, it became so serious that governors of different states reported her to the president because they found it hard to raise money in the Nigerian capital market because of her stringent regulatory measures. It got so bad that the National Assembly removed all budgetary allocation to the Nigerian Security and Exchange Commission in order to cripple her operation, and they even proceeded to warn the president of Nigeria at that time never to fund any of our operation from private sources. Powerful forces and market players who had grown fat from profiting from these schemes began to also push back on our policies. And because many of them had strong political influence, deep pockets and media allies, they started to vindicate her and painted her as an outsider trying to destroy the Nigerian enterprise. In June 2011, she was invited to the Nigerian House of Representatives Committee, headed by Mr. Hembe, the past chairman of Nigerian House of Representatives Committee on Capital Market and Other Institutions, because the committee was investigating the collapse of the Nigerian capital market in 2008 and 2009, a year after she came into office. And when she arrived at the Nigerian House of Representatives building, she expected questions about her policies, reforms, and how to strategize for the future. But she began to notice that the kind of questions they were asking her was politically motivated, and it became an ambush. The Nigerian lawmakers during that particular meeting and public hearing accused her of mismanagement. They claimed that she mismanaged the Security and Exchange Commission's funds and violated its laws. And during the hearing, it became evident that the public hearing was not about accountability but majorly about revenge on her. And immediately the House of Assembly members finished asking her all these questions and spiting her, she came boldly live on national TV and accused the chairman of the committee, Mr. Hembe, and his committee members to have been demanding 39 million naira from the Security and Exchange Commission to sponsor that particular public hearing on the capital market. She claimed he approached her in her office weeks before the hearing, and when she refused to approve the money, they decided to bring her down at all costs. She even revealed that the Security and Exchange Commission had paid for Hembe and other committee members' travel and accommodation to attend a conference in the Dominican Republic, including paying for their business class flights, daily allowances, and 5-star hotel bills. But yet, Hembe never attended the event. Instead, he allegedly pocketed the funds.
And now I question, Honorable Chairman, your credibility in carrying out this public hearing. On October 20th, the SEC gave you ESTO code and a business class ticket to travel to an emerging market conference in Dominican Republic. Please tell the Nigerian people whether you actually went there. And please also tell the Nigerian people, if you didn't go, whether you have returned the monies.
Even though this man and the committee members denied being involved in any of this thing, and in their own defense accused her of trying to silence them from investigating her and bringing her to the committee to hear her own side of the story. And immediately this happened, it instantly went viral in the country. In fact, it became so popular that the then Speaker of the Nigerian House of Representatives, Mr. Aminu Tambuwa, conveyed an emergency meeting and several recommendations were made instantly. Part of the recommendation that was made was that they advised Honorable Hembe, the chairman of the Committee on Capital Market investigating Ms. Arunma Oteh, to step down as the chairman and come forward for an alleged EFCC investigation about the allegation that's been brought against him. Now, what do you think about this particular story? Make sure you like the video if you want us to make a part 2 of it, because it's actually a lot of videos. Type on the comment below what you think so far about the story, and who do you think is actually involved, and what do you think about this particular woman. I want to see your comment so that I can make a part 2 of it. I will see you in the next one.